The cake hit the wall with a wet slap, pink frosting dripping down like blood. My mother-in-law's face contorted as she towered over my sobbing 2-year-old daughter. Her finger jabbed the air inches from the child's face. "You brat! This is why I hate spoiled kids," she screamed, specks of saliva landing on my baby's cheeks. Something snapped inside me, not like a twig, but like a dam bursting. The room temperature seemed to rise 10 degrees as blood rushed to my face. My hands, once shaking with fear of confrontation, now trembled with rage. I could hear my own heartbeat drowning out the birthday party chatter that had gone silent around us. My daughter's terrified wails pierced the silence as I lunged forward, scooping her into my arms. The feeling of her tiny body trembling against mine ignited something primal, a fierce, protective fury I'd never experienced before. "She's 2, you psycho," I hissed, backing away from the woman who had tormented us for months. My mother-in-law's face twisted into an ugly sneer. "Ugh, worst grandchild ever," she spat, as though a toddler could possibly deserve such venom. My husband stood frozen nearby, his eyes darting between us like a cornered animal, choosing silence over protection. "My name is Rachel. I'm 34 and an office worker. This is the story of how I rebuilt my life after discovering that some family bonds are meant to be broken." I'd met Owen 3 years earlier on a dating app. He was charming, attentive, and seemed like the perfect partner. When our daughter Lily was born, he proved to be a hands-on father, changing diapers and taking night shifts without complaint. I thought I'd found my forever person. What I didn't realize was that there was already someone else occupying that space in his life. His mother, Vivian. At first, the signs were subtle. "How's dinner?" he'd ask, taking a bite of the pasta I'd spent an hour preparing. "Good," he'd say after chewing thoughtfully, "but my mom's is richer." I'd smile and nod, making mental notes to adjust my recipes. I even called his mother once, asking for cooking tips, wanting to please him. She'd seemed pleasant enough then, giving vague instructions that never quite worked out. Then came the souvenirs. Every business trip, every weekend getaway, he'd text me. What should I get my mom? Never my parents, just his mom. I told myself it was sweet how close they were, how wrong I was. The real trouble started 6 months ago. Owen came home looking unusually serious. "We should move in with my mom," he announced without preamble. I looked up from my laptop, certain I'd misheard. "What? Why?" "My parents are divorcing. Dad cheated." His voice cracked slightly. "I can't leave Mom alone. Plus, she can help with Lily." It made practical sense. I could return to work sooner with built-in childcare, and Owen swore his mother adored me. "She thinks you're the daughter she never had," he insisted. Within weeks, Vivian moved into our spacious 2-bedroom apartment. The moment Owen left for work that first morning, her mask slipped. She surveyed our living room with a dismissive sniff. "This apartment is too nice for you," she remarked, running a finger along our bookshelf. "Excuse me," I said, nearly dropping Lily's breakfast plate. "You only have this life because of my son," she hissed, her voice suddenly venomous. "Don't forget that." I maintained my composure, reminding myself she was going through a divorce. "Owen works hard, and I'm grateful for everything we have," I replied evenly. She smirked. "At least you're obedient. That's good." From that day forward, nothing I did met her standards. She critiqued my cooking. "Who puts soy sauce on eggs? Use ketchup." My parenting. "The baby needs a sweater. Are you trying to make her sick?" Even my bathing habits. "This bath water is weak. Boil it next time. Where's my after-bath ice cream? You should know by now." She lounged around our apartment all day while I juggled remote work, a toddler, and her ridiculous demands. I'd hoped she would help with Lily, but she'd play with her for 5 minutes before getting bored and handing her back, usually when she needed a diaper change. The worst part was watching Owen transform in her presence. My confident, reasonable husband became a simpering boy around her. "How was work, honey?" She'd coo at dinner, ignoring me completely. "Rough," he'd sigh. My boss was stressed about deadlines and took it out on the team. Her eyes would widen dramatically. "That's workplace harassment. Should I call your CEO?" Owen would blink, momentarily confused. "Mom, it's just a bad day." "My angel is too forgiving," she'd declare, clutching her chest like he'd announced he'd discovered the cure for cancer. I nearly choked the first time I heard this exchange. Angel? He was a 34-year-old man who still wanted Mommy to fight his battles. To preserve my sanity, I enrolled Lily in daycare and returned to the office full-time. When I announced my decision, Vivian exploded. "Why do you need to work? Don't I deserve some peace and quiet?" "You'll have the house to yourself," I pointed out sweetly. That silenced her temporarily. "Fine," she huffed, "but keep this place spotless." Which brings us back to Lily's birthday party. After witnessing Vivian scream in my daughter's face, something inside me changed. The fear and hesitation that had kept me compliant evaporated, replaced by cold clarity. "Says the woman who throws tantrums over bathwater," I snapped, still holding my whimpering daughter. Vivian's face turned an alarming shade of purple. "What did you say?" "Pack your bags," I growled, my voice dropping to a dangerous register I barely recognized. "You're moving out. Today." Owen finally spoke up, but not as I'd hoped. "Mom's right," he said quietly. "You're overreacting." I stared at him, disbelief coursing through me. "Our daughter is crying and you're defending her?" He shrugged, a gesture so dismissive it felt like a physical blow. "We can have another kid. I only have one mother." The room went silent. In that moment, I saw with perfect clarity what the rest of my life would look like if I stayed. Endless subjugation to a woman who hated me and a husband who would never, ever choose me. "You're disgusting," I whispered. "Don't talk to my son like that," Vivian screeched. "Neither of you are welcome here. Get out," she demanded, pointing toward the door. I froze, momentarily confused. This house? Then understanding dawned. "You're right," I said, my voice suddenly calm. "We're leaving." I grabbed Lily's hand and headed for the bedroom, where I began throwing clothes into a suitcase. Owen followed, panic finally registering on his face. "Wait, you don't have to—" "Oh, but I do," I interrupted, not bothering to look at him as I continued packing. "Enjoy your cake date," I added, zipping the suitcase closed. His mother smirked from the doorway. "Good riddance." 3 days later, I sat in my lawyer's office, ignoring the 27 missed calls lighting up my phone as I slid divorce papers across the polished desk. When Owen finally reached me, he sounded relieved rather than heartbroken. "So the apartment stays with me, right? You left voluntarily." About that," I said sweetly. "You'll need to start paying rent, 150,000 yen monthly." "Are you insane? That's triple the actual—" "Actually," I cut in, enjoying this moment more than I probably should have, "it's my apartment. Bought it with stock profits before we met. Surprise." Dead silence followed then. "You own it?" "Yep, pay up or I'll sell it tomorrow." "Where will my mother live?" he wailed, his voice cracking. "Not my problem," I sang, hanging up with a satisfaction so intense it felt almost physical. My lawyer later told me Owen looked like a zombie during negotiations, drowning in child support calculations and his mother's incessant demands. Their unbreakable bond apparently shattered when she realized he couldn't afford her lifestyle anymore. During mediation, they screamed, "This is your fault," at each other repeatedly, like characters in a bad soap opera. Meanwhile, I sold the apartment for a substantial profit, secured Lily's college fund, and moved in with my genuinely supportive parents. Now I work, raise my amazing daughter, and sleep peacefully without midnight demands for hotter bathwater. As for love, maybe someday. But first, I'm teaching my daughter what real strength looks like. And I've made a solemn promise to myself that I'll never, ever become the monster I left behind. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles. Zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.